muscles, I would be familiar with. You don't have to know all the bones of the body. You don't have to know all of the joints of the body. You don't have to know all of the muscles and tendons and ligaments in the body. But you have to have a basic understanding about how everything works, what connects what to what, okay? You need to know that, okay? Airway and respiratory system. I should have made that red, okay? They're going to ask you a lot of questions on the final exam about airway and respiratory, all right? Organs and functions. How do we breathe? What are the muscles of breathing? How do you do inhalation and exhalation? What is the difference between ventilation and respiration, okay? All the stuff that we talked about, all right? Get it? Got it?
Good.
The heart. The heart. The different chambers of the heart. How the blood flows through the body. Understand the circulatory system. Understand the components of it. The heart as the pump, the blood vessels as the vessels, and the blood as the actual fluid portion. What are the different components of the blood? The different types of blood, white blood cell, red blood cell, platelet, everything else like that. How the blood flows and the difference between the respiratory, the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit of the heart. In other words, the right side of the heart versus the left side of the heart. Okay? We covered the heart 3 times, right? We did it in A&P, we did it in medical, and then we did it in shock. Okay? Pulmonary versus systemic. In other words, the right side of the heart versus the left side of the heart. How does the blood move? One side's going to pump it to the lungs, the other side's going to pump it to the body, right? Know your arteries, your veins, your capillaries. Know the components of the blood. Know the blood pressure, systolic versus versus diastolic. Systolic is when what is happening? Pump. What is diastolic? Rest, right? What is the average blood pressure of a healthy human being? Know what the term perfusion means. Know what the term hypoperfusion is, and know what the signs and symptoms of hypoperfusion are. Okay? I'm going to guarantee you there are going to be test questions regarding those issues. Know oxygenated versus deoxygenated blood. In other words, the right side versus the left side of the heart, and the responsible circulatory systems. All right? CNS and PNS, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. PNS, everything else. Lean a little bit heavy on the autonomic nervous system. Sympathetic versus the parasympathetic. The last state exam, they kind of leaned a little bit towards that. So I think our final exam is going to mirror some of that. Okay? So, remember we talked about the fight or flight? All right? And then the rest and recover. Okay? So we want to talk about that. Right? And then all the other systems at a basic level. The skin, the layers of the skin, epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous, the functions of the skin. Why do we have the skin? The digestive system, the various organs, both solid and hollow, and how the digestive process works. Okay? The different endocrine system glands that we talked about, with heavy emphasis on the pancreas. Okay? Urinary system, where are the kidneys located? In the retroperitoneal space, behind the abdominal space, retroperitoneal space. And then the functions, how do they work, how do they operate, what do they do? And then the reproductive system, okay? The organs that are specific to the males and the females. Anatomy A&P, the process of respiration. Understanding the difference between adequate breathing versus inadequate breathing or respiratory distress. Do you know the signs and symptoms? Know them. The stuff we talked about in airway, opening the airway and maintaining the airway. How do you open it? What technique do you use, and why do you use that technique? All right? Airway adjuncts, OPAs and NPAs. Which one do you use? How do you measure it? Where do you place it? What are the indications and the contraindications? That's a lot of material that we went over, and we went over it a while ago. We did that in early December, okay? So that's a while ago, so that information may not be right up on the top of your head, so you may want to go back. Suctioning. How do we suction? What are the parameters for suctioning? How do you set up a suction machine? Okay? Supplemental oxygen delivery. Oxygen itself, O2. The different types of regulators. How to safely assemble the oxygen cylinder. The BVM versus the non-rebreather versus the nasal cannula. How do we give people oxygen? What do we set the liter flow at? What is the amount of oxygen they're going to get percentage-wise when we use these different devices? Okay? Again, an excellent source of information. Go on JB Learning. Go to each one of these chapters. In each one of these chapters is going to be a Word document associated with it that is a breakdown. They're cliff notes at the end of each chapter. Print them out. You're probably going to have 10 or 15 pages of this. All right? If you did that and you took the note, when I would write the vocabulary words down, you did that and you have a base of knowledge of vocabulary and medical terminology, and you have an understanding of how these different devices are used, you have a good base to study from. All right?